This is especially important for economic growth outside London. Cities such as Birmingham, Manchester, and Leeds rely on strong rail links to attract jobs, investment, and skilled workers. HS2 has not been without serious problems. Costs have risen dramatically, delivery has been delayed, repeated changes in scope have damaged public trust. These criticisms are valid and they matter. Large infrastructure projects must be well managed, transparent, and accountable, but canceling parts of a project after billions have already been spent raises a different question. What value do we lose by stopping now? If HS2 only runs to Birmingham, the biggest capacity benefits disappear. The West Coast Main Line remains congested north of the West Midlands, and cities like Manchester lose the long-term rail capacity they were promised. That means fewer new local services, slower freight growth, and continued overcrowding on some of the UK's most important routes. This debate is happening while Britain's existing railway is under strain. Recent timetable changes on the East Coast Main Line aim to increase frequency and modernize services, but they also show how finely balanced capacity already is. At the same time, passengers on the West Coast Main Line have seen service reductions, including cuts to some long-distance routes. In one highly criticized case, a London-Manchester service continued to run empty due to regulatory constraints highlighting inefficiencies caused by limited capacity and rigid timetabling. This kind of resilience matters more as passenger numbers grow and climate targets push more people onto rail. Some argue the money should be spent upgrading existing lines instead. Upgrades are important, but they can't easily add capacity to already saturated routes without years of disruption. Others say the project is too expensive, but the real comparison is not between HS2 and spending nothing, it is between strategic long-term investment and decades of constrained growth. If you care about Britain's rail future, the most important step is understanding the evidence. Read the independent reviews. Look at Network Rail's capacity studies. Check how service changes affect your local routes. HS2 was never just about speed. It was about fixing a railway network that has been running at full stretch for years. Whether Britain finishes it or reshapes in something else, the decision should be based on facts, not short-term politics.
There was clearly problems, not just the politics. In 2020, when HS2 started construction for phase one, it actually showed that there was a plan from 2026 to 2027. The London to Birmingham phase one would have been open. We're close to that date and there's still not huge progress. But after that, from 2023 to 2045, that's when the Manchester and the Leeds branches would have opened. And is in my understanding and from Network Rail's understanding that this was tenable, this was achievable. What made it not achievable was three devastating events: COVID, Brexit, and the Russia-Ukraine war. This not just affected HS2, this not just affected other major mega projects. This is a world event. This is a world issue. The economy, the inflation that's happened from the result of these three events is why HS2's cost ballooned. The 40 billion-ish that was before 2020 that would have got us a state-of-the-art high-speed project from London, Birmingham, Manchester and Leeds would cost £100 billion now. Yes, it is a bit more artificial now. It's artificially boosted because of special interests, subcontractors, and not attaining all the land needed. There was still a lot of barriers to entry that the government was not having plans for. However, this would have just increased in less than 10 billion. The COVID, Brexit, and Russia-Ukraine war happening in a span of 2 years is the reason why the cost of HS2 has risen to its astronomical proportions. Right now, the UK is suffering. As a person who's living in the UK, you know that the money you earned now is not the same as the money you earned before COVID. You might be earning more now, but it doesn't feel like you're earning more than you was before COVID. It's because of the millions, billions, and almost trillions amount of money that was printed during this period. How can we blame the project for being overrun? How can we blame the people involved in the project for how it became when you have to navigate through such devastating times? Please, I want you just to look into it. Don't just feed into the narrative, the anti-HS2 narrative. I want you to think properly. Think in a whole grander picture. If you was making a huge project for your country and you had to navigate through such economic problems, wouldn't you do something about it?